Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this occasion we're going to see how is the process to use some custom sections we designed on S-CALC into an S-frame model, more specifically with S-CALC. And before we get started, it's important to note that S-CALC supports I sections, T sections, angle, double angle, HCS, HRS, HSS, rods, bars, and channel shapes. If any of our shapes are one of these options, we'll be able to code check and design them. However, if we're working with a different shape, S-frame still can run the analysis, but the code check and the design will be available. So with all of that being said, we can see here I have a model. In this case, it's a 2-base covered. And if I go to S-CALC and run a code check, we can see that our sections are failing. So having all of this in mind, we want some sections with better performance. With all being said, we can jump to S-CALC. And here you can see I have some sections that were designed beforehand. Those being a custom I-beam and a custom HRS. We can even review them about the material, about the width, the thickness for the web and the flange, the fillets being elliptical for this section. And also for the custom HRS, we can see the information related to the properties, the width, the thickness, and also about the corners. Now, before we export this database, I want to note a couple of things here. The first thing being about how these sections were, this case was using the parametric tree. We can see that we can display this option and look for the hollow rectangle. As we can see here, the sharp tree. We can do the same for the I-beam we have here. But we can also start from some sections contained in the different databases. For example, here, if I expand this and go for the W section and select any of them, maybe this one, we can see that this section was loaded on S-CALC. We can see its name in the project window and the shape tree window, and just start modifying the properties as we may want. But this is not what we're looking for. I'm going to remove this section. And if I go for the custom I-beam we're working with, we can see that the shape tree comes with I-beam. So that means this section wasn't created with some, let's say, starting shape contained in the different databases. Now, with all of that defined, I can go to the File menu, going for Export, and I can see there are different options to export my database. I'm going to stick for the S-frame database. We can decide if we want to export this database as a section type or the material type. Sticking for section. And the reason I decided going for the S-frame database is because I have here in the type file field, I can expand this and I can select S-CALC custom section file. And this is going to be very important later during this example. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to write down maybe I-beam and HRS. I'm going to save it test folder. We can see that there is no other file with the same extension, that being the .tbl. So I'm going to save. And now I can jump back to S-frame. Here what I'm going to do is in the S-CALC window, I can go to the code input menu, go into the file menu, and clicking on import custom sections. Once I click this, I can navigate to look for my custom section. And if I scroll down, I can see here the I-beam and HRS.tbl file. And here we have the options being the tbl file. Select, open. Now this is loaded on S-CALC. Now let's get back to S-frame. And if I go to the section properties tool, I can see here a quick review of the current sections in my model. I'm going to right click. We can see comes from the Canadian steel database, but I want to work with my imported sections. So for that, I'm going to click on steel, and I'm going to look for my custom section. It was called I-beam and HRS, as we can see here. So I'm going to select it, and we can see now I have the options about an I-beam and a hollow rectangle. And their properties are the same as we defined just a moment ago. So I'm going to select this one and click on Add To. And we're going to add HRS as well. Click OK. Our STL results will be raised. We're good with this. And now we're going to assign the different colors just to see the differences. Click on Close. And now I can assign these sections in my model. I can even render them, as we can see here. Oh, I need to change this one. I can run an analysis. No messages. Going again to run and S-CALC. We can even make sure that our custom database is selected. Going to Options menu, Design Code. You can see here the steel database is selected. And now we can run a code check. We can see that our utilization ratios got decreased. These sections are a better option for this specific model. You can also see the reports for each one of these elements and confirming that S-CALC could run a successful code check.